Chicanos, how's it going, everybody? Me, I'm just chilling back, and I want to talk about Chicano Unity. Let's talk about Norteño, SURENO Unity. Let's talk about, especially because I was watching Joe Rogan yesterday, and he had this guy. His name looked like it was Ion, some British journalist. I don't know if maybe some of you guys watched it yesterday or you guys watched Joe Rogan, but when the guy was talking about how he was a journalist who lives in Mexico, it captured my attention and made me want to watch it. But on that hand, the point that I was thinking and wanted to know was that how he was talking about the drug cartels, the street gangs mentality out there. But what made me think when he on how Mexico was, just how the condition and how deep it is on why Mexico, so-called Latin America, the way it is, Central and South. So, like in a book I read, Economics of Mexico, it was talking about how because the United States got into war with Vietnam, they could no longer get their opium from Vietnam. So they went into Central America, South America, Mexico, and, made these deals to be able to grow opium on people's farms. And after when the United States didn't need those, obviously those people still kept the farms and they still kept growing. And that's even information that I've seen watching people's videos. But he talked about something about the Chinese who were in Mexico with opium. Also, obviously, the Asians had the opium, if you know any history, also, whether if it was the Korean or Chinese. But he didn't mention uh, anything about the Vietnam War and how what I read. He just mentioned the Chinese would bring in opium, which was some interesting information. But on the hand of what I was thinking of how, what on the influence that us Chicanos have for Mexicanos. One instance is how the street gang cholo mentality that's in Mexico and how it got there. It's obviously that cholo mentality, norteño, sureño, started in California by Chicanos, not in Mexico. So, you think about the influence. If we had the influence to be able for these for them to carry on this gang mentality into Mexico, wanting to be sureños, especially because, truthfully, me being from Northern Cali, a lot of Mexican Mexicanos, which we would call border brothers, paisas, and border brothers. As a Chicano from up north, we really don't relate to them, and they normally relate to the wannabe Southsiders, people who are from wherever and claim Southside, LA. Everybody claims they're from LA. If you want to, no matter if you're from Idaho or Oregon, to be a part of the Mexican mafia. So they normally stick with them because they're more culturally related, like I talk about in my videos, us just speaking English more, not Spanish, etc. Watch my videos. But, so on that hand, they're culturally more related. But, you think about the influence. So, if we had the influence, they had the influence to carry on this negativity, what if we had positive structure, we had productive, positive manners that were being carried on to Mexico? What if we had an opposite influence of The brown berets were a big, strong movement. The Mexica movement was a big, strong movement. Any movements that when young Mexicano kids, young teenagers or young in their 20s come here, they don't get influenced by the gangs. They get influenced by, these organizations that are out to better our people. And they get taught history, knowledge, truth on identity and heritage and culture. And, they get a true breakdown on what is colonialism, on why we are in these conditions and how what we could do to keep ourselves out of these conditions, and maybe possibly by our influence, instead of teaching 30 guys how to be gang members, we teach 30 guys how to be activists, how to be philosophers and, people for their communities and, leaders more. What if we had a brown berets in Mexico? Why wasn't the brown berets so strong in the influence that, Mexicans wanted to go start a brown berets out there, for the people, something like that, you know? And, MS-13 is something that, when you think about it, broke off. Obviously they're just El Salvadorians because they're not Mexican. They were getting treated less, I believe, from the history of understanding why they became MS, was because they were getting treated like less because they weren't Mexicanos, they were El Salvadorians. And you think about that for an example. What if these guys were influenced by the brown berets, you know, and they, even if they broke off, they would have broke off and started a productive group, pure for El Salvadorians, helping each other, on what is, why is, and who is. For an example, we could talk about and ask them about criollos. If none of you guys know what that is, criollos is what? People who are Spaniard American, who never inbreded with Indios, who never became mestizo. They stayed pure Spaniard within their bloodline. And, rich Spaniard families only, and married to each other and builded communities in Mexico and stayed amongst each other. Pure Spaniards, American Spaniards. So, on that hand, you just think about the influence, and you think about how you hear about the NORTENO and SURENO peace treaty that's going on. You could look it up. There's people who talked about it, and that's a good, positive movement and way for our people because, like I said, we never had that structure. We never understood, the deeper manner of, the system is what we're against, not each other. And we haven't had nothing since the Mexica movement or the Chicano movement, meaning, but even the Mexica movement's a movement, for an example, or the Brown Berets, or any true leader, so we still don't got elders, we still don't got no strong household names. I haven't seen nobody really, a true Chicano that seems like, this is the guy right here. Those are the guys right there. I want to join their group. That's the movement right there. That's the truth. We don't see that within our community yet, and hopefully in time we will. But this is just an example of the influence because, we have, more of a privilege here in the United States. We understand that, we have an understanding that we could learn different. We could move in an intelligent, non-violent manner out here. And, that's what we got to be able to teach young Mexicanos, when they come here. So, other than that, peace out. Culture is power. History is knowledge. And it takes patience in order for you to do what you want to do. In order to learn whatever you want to learn, it takes patience. Because you want to have patience in order to be able to sit down and read that book. It takes patience in order for you to want to learn boxing, to want to learn how to use a computer in and out. You could just go in there and break codes. So, peace.